VAATV, Vietnamese American Arizona Television.
Hello and welcome to VAATV Real Estate Talk Show with Scott Barlow and LinhVi. Investing can be tricky, especially for beginners. However, with the right knowledge and understanding, you can achieve success in your investment. Our talk show is designed to bring out great topics for investors like you. We hope you enjoy the show and welcome to submit any feedback during and after the show.
Yeah.
We've been seeing ourselves. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the VAATV Talk Show. I guess like we missing a few weeks, and now the machine also retired. So Scott Barlow and LinhVi, we on the talk show come back today. It look like the weather is so hot. It's just make uneasy for everything.
Yeah.
Is that right?
This week it's been over 110 a number of days. I know when I was driving over here to the studio, it was 113.
Wow.
So it's tough on people and it's tough on cars.
Oh yeah, that's true. And the tire is have to move everywhere.
Yep.
On the hot, very hot road, right?
The roads are extremely hot. Yes.
Everywhere. And then the AC is the most important at this time, right?
I don't think we can get away without having air conditioning. You got to have air conditioning in your home. You got to have air conditioning in your car, and then when you go to work, you got to have air conditioning. Because if you don't, you just can't be productive.
Right, exactly. Because the mind not want to think of anything.
That's correct. Yep, that's right.
So, what are we have anything interesting you want to cover, or you see that is important for the viewer?
Well, I just want to kind of highlight, in the next few weeks, we're probably going to see some things happen. I don't have any specific news to share this evening, but, I'm just going to revisit. Back in March, the National Association of Realtors lost a court case, and it's been working its way through the courts. Attorneys for the National Association of Realtors, as well as a bunch of different brokerages, have been working out the exact wording, and the judges are getting ready to sign off for it. One of the big things that came out of that, of course, is the fact that sellers do not have to offer commission or real estate commissions to the buyer's broker. So it'll be up to the buyer's broker and the buyer to figure out how that they can get paid. There's several different ways that they're working out the methods to get it paid. And it may still work out where you have a seller who offers compensation, but it's not going to be typically the way that it was. And it will have some different legal language to it, but the attorneys are still trying to get it worked out. But by August 17th, we'll be operating under that mode. So it'll change the way that some buyers have to go about doing their business, and that the requirement for a broker to show a property is that they will have to have a buyer's broker agreement ahead of time. And so, we talked about it briefly, that what if you got a broker that you just don't like? Well, my answer to that is do a short-term agreement, or do an agreement where if you don't like the way the broker's doing things, you give them notice, and if they, after a certain period of time, they don't take care of it or get it done the way you want it, that you can cancel that agreement.
Yeah, so that is also very important, because if they don't cancel it, then it's just automatically stay still.
Exactly.
Right?
And you could end up in a situation where as a buyer, if you didn't cancel that contract and you bought something, maybe you're working with a new broker now, but you could end up paying 2 commissions, and you don't want to do that. So there will be some tricks to it, and there's going to be some growing pains. We all kind of expect that. But that's one of the big things that's coming down. I know that the Department of Real Estate here in the state is adding education to a couple of our continuing education classes, specifically in the areas of deed or deed fraud In other words, where people are coming in and you've got your house completely paid for, and somebody's coming in underneath with bogus documents and they're selling that house to someone else.
Oh,
So we'll get into that a little bit more. The other thing is, and it's always been a hot topic in the state, is water. Where is future water coming from? So that's one of those educational things that the Department of Real Estate is really enforcing. And then lastly, we've gone through drought conditions here for probably close to 10 or 15 years. In the state, the brush out in the desert is extremely dry. So they want to talk about FireWise and some of the different ways that we can avoid fires, both in our homes as well as out in the desert. But it's becoming a pretty major consideration. So those are some of the things. And then looking down the road, of course, we have elections coming up, and I think a lot of people have strong ideas on who wins, how is that going to affect the markets. In all likelihood, and Chairman Powell from the Fed has indicated that we may see at least one rate reduction, which I think everybody would be happy to see.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does look like inflation has slowed down just a little bit. And typically during election season, it seems like more favorable things come out.
That's true.
That's pretty typical.
Yeah.
And then lastly, and this is looking down the road, and I'll have more information on it later, but it looks like sales tax that you pay on rental income to the cities may be going away in January. So we'll talk about that as well.
Sale tax.
Yes.
That's important because, sale tax, that's what Scott mentioned. It's like every time when you own a piece of property and you rent it out or you do some transaction in it, you have to pay the AZ Gulf tax, AZ tax.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what that is.
And what it is each city or county may have its own sales tax.
Yeah, sometimes real high. Yeah.
Attached to the price of a lease.
Yeah.
And then you collect that, you send it into the Arizona Department of Revenue, and then what they would do is they would send that money back to the city. But it looks like there's going to be some pretty big changes on that. We'll keep you up to date because if you've got rental property and you're collecting money and you're paying TPT or sales tax on it to the state, that may be coming to an end.
That's true. Yeah. But I wonder if we don't pay that tax, who will? I mean, they just lost the money.
Well, we'll get the full story on exactly how those cities are going to make up for that revenue.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And you may not realize this, but there's a significant number of towns and counties that do not collect any sales tax.
Oh, really?
That's exactly right.
Because I know Apache Junction and Mesa and Chandler. Yeah,
most of the cities here in the metro area,
they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then I know the summer heat. Maybe it will cause some wildfire to the house surrounding. Now we can discuss about the insurance there. When they purchase the house without the mortgage, without the lender, then they all have to think to buy the insurance.
You have to think about it. Yep.
Because it pay all cash, then you just thinking, okay, just pay and never mention. Never thinking about insurance.
Well, in case in point, I had a very good client that I sold a number of properties for him, and I helped him purchase a home. He bought a home, and it was a nice place. He had two daughters; they were attending ASU, and when the second daughter got done, the third daughter lived there briefly, and then she transferred. So all of his children had lived in the house. He was from California, but all of the kids had lived in the house and then moved on. And so he said, let's sell the house. And then during the due diligence portion, the buyer asked for the insurance claim history. And he goes, I never had insurance. I never had insurance.
Is that hard to sell? I mean,
we had to write a statement explaining it. But, you think about it, and we've talked a number of times about doing things that lower our risk.
Yes.
That is not lowering your risk.
Right. Because with the escrow, I know that they don't ask for to provide the insurance to close.
That's correct.
Only the lender.
Only the lender.
Whenever you borrow a loan, then the lender will ask to give a fire insurance, then people remember
That's right.
about it.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
because the lender has risk in the home. If the home isn't insured
Yes.
and something were to happen, the lender would lose on that. So that's why the lender insists on insurance.
On getting those cover,
Yes.
right, for that. And then like you mentioned the flood. So Arizona, is there certain area that require the flood insurance?
Well, exactly. One of the things that when you're buying or selling a home, and a good reason for going through an escrow company or a title company is that they do a title search, as well as they will check records to see if you're in a flood zone area. And you can look at throughout town. There are certain locations that have a much lower risk of flooding, and even with a 500-year flood, there's very little indication that they would flood out. There are some where a 100-year flood might flood, but then as you get closer to places like down along the Salt River bottom or the Gila River bottom, some of those properties there, they can be in the flood zones, and they can be subject to flooding. Now, granted, in the middle of the summer, it's highly unlikely, but suppose we get a lot of snowpack up in the mountains, and in the spring it melts, and so it's more snow runoff, more water runoff than the dams and the lakes can handle. So what happens is they release that additional water, and if you're too close to the river bottom, you might be subject to flooding.
Oh, wow.
And normal insurance does not cover a lot of flooding.
They don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they make to buy the flood insurance separately. Is that expensive? I forgot.
I don't think it's super expensive. I haven't had occasion to price any, but I know, like, if you take some of the places that are closer to the ocean,
yes,
it's out here it's less expensive.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But Arizona, I didn't know like which area that most have flood. It's like near the dam or lake.
Well, downstream from
downstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember not many years ago, before Tempe built the town lake, but there were occasions where there was water flowing through there, and there's some years they have to lower the barriers to allow water to flow because there is so much water coming off the dams.
Wow.
So I mean, it's it's a year by year situation to see just how much snow was up in those mountains.
Oh, yeah, and then the water comes.
Yeah.
So and then so you think like with the interest rate that for the coming, I know sometimes with the election time, always there's favor on interest rate
Seems
low,
to be a little bit,
and then gas good, and everything's good. Why they do something like that? To get the vote or something?
Well, it's that, people have speculated about that for years and years and years. Sometimes it's just the way that things work out. Other times
it's a short-term, temporary, or what?
Sometimes it seems like it can be temporary, but I would definitely say the price of gas is still significantly higher than where it was 4 years ago.
Really? But I think it's lower way before, like under 3, right? I mean under 4, we saw
it's under
over 4, like somewhere sometime
back in the spring. It was definitely over 4. Now I think I bought gasoline yesterday. It was $3.56.
3 something, yeah.
So you're right. It came down, but 4 years ago I think it was $2.76.
Yeah, but lucky like this low, but in California it's really high.
Yeah, California has always been
high.
notoriously high.
5 something, yeah. So, and then you mentioned like if that there's about cases like the title people take how did they do that? They take the title. They sell the house without the real title, the real owner.
Exactly. Somebody submits, goes down, and they recorded a sale with the recorder's office. They don't necessarily go through a title company, but they go through a recorder's office. And the way some of these have gotten caught is the title company will get the new sale, or they'll get a document saying that this person is wanting to sell. And they look at it and they go, well, they've been there for a long time. So what the title companies are doing is the title companies are taking some extra steps. Let's suppose that your house was completely paid off, and I'm the title examiner, and I look at that. And I go, LinhVi's got that house paid for, and she's had it for a long time. I wonder if she really wants to sell. So the paperwork's there, but I send you a letter and say, hey, your house is for sale. We're just doing a double check. Call me if there's any problems. And sure enough, they've had people come, no, I'm not selling my house.
Oh.
So people are out there doing fraud.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I now you say something like they have ability to not go through the title, but if they fraud somewhere and they record with the clerk, when the clerk county recorded, they don't check. They don't know who's belong what.
That's correct.
They don't know who's the owner, right? Or they know who the owner, but then they don't know what's
they have
this
to
real or not.
They have to look at it and go, okay, this is a notarized signature. Well, what does it take to get a notarization? Not a whole heck of a lot. So if that person that's the notary is unscrupulous and doesn't do some checking,
but I mean,
they have the
there's
right
driver license, there's like identity, right?
Yes.
But they can fraud that too.
Yeah, some people will do that.
Wow. Yeah, that's really difficult to find out, right?
Well, and that's why the title companies, in a lot of cases, are going back to the owner of record by sending them a letter
to
really find out if indeed.
But the problem, like if they sell it and then they use that to sell to somebody else to show it.
Well, it can
like transfer.
If it does, ultimately, the person that was the victim in that, they're going to go through the courts. The person that was the pretend seller, they'll eventually get caught, hopefully.
Right.
But I feel for the person that buys it.
Pay the money. Yeah, pay money and get it. That's why.
But you can, all the more reason why you want to use a title company.
They cover the back.
Why you want to get an actual title search done.
Yeah.
And they issue title insurance.
Yeah.
So that if there is something fraudulent, you get a payoff for it.
Yeah, so the title will cover for those. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, that's true because like just think about when you wake up and you people come to you and say that's not your house, and then you actually pay for the house, right?
Yes.
And then the previous owner say no, that not previous owner but the real owner was saying that I never sell to that seller.
Yeah, or I never sold. Period. And their handwriting was forged.
Yeah. Oh wow. But then in that case, they have to go through courts to clear it out.
Yeah, they'll have to go through the court system
to take over there. But it's when they come back to the title will favor back to the original owner.
Well,
they're not gonna.
Generally speaking, the title companies will catch it before it even gets sold.
Oh.
So all the better reason to use a title company.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Yeah, because when they record it under their name, then when the title company do buy a seller, then they find out, this is we a seller or something. Yeah, with a short
the title companies will do some extra checking. Yeah. It's typically where it's kind of a shortened sale between two people. Those are the ones where we really got to be careful.
Yeah. So then that's why if we don't even know through the transaction, somebody want to save money and they don't want to go through escrow or title. They just thinking trust each other and then get the money. Then they got lost, like a big loss. Things happen. Okay. So you anything else you want to share with us for the week? For the past 3 weeks, we didn't.
Well,
we are busy.
I can tell you, from a sales standpoint here in Arizona, mind you, sales follow. The actual sale follows 45 days from the time period. So something that's here in June and July, we'll see that in August and September. So typically what you're going to see is that we're going to have some of our lowest August and Septembers because this time of the year when it's 113 degrees out, I don't know about you, but I don't want to go out and get out of a car and go look at a house.
I don't want to go anywhere. Yeah.
And it's typically when we have some of our fewest closings, where we have some of our least activity. And so it's not out of the norm. But things start changing here in the next few weeks. You know, Arizona's pretty crazy. Where I grew up in Michigan, we started school after Labor Day. So the first Monday, in September. We've already got some schools here that are going to be starting next week.
For the fall.
For the fall school system.
Oh, wow.
And then throughout in August, kind of staggered, we'll have even more coming on. As families in particular, as they return and children are going back to school, there's more activity because there's more people here.
Yeah, that's true. Because I think like with the summertime, like a few, especially June or July, right? Like most of the people out of town, and they just want to spend time with family and all.
And they want to get away from the heat.
Yeah, it's so hot. So now they'll come back, and then there will be more transaction. Right?
That's typically the way it flows, and so we'll keep our fingers crossed. But hopefully
How about interest rate?
Hopefully we've got a little bit of a dip in interest rates. I know that the mortgage industry keeps coming up with ideas on how to do things, but if the Fed lowers their rates, it'll have a positive effect across the business. So it'll be a good thing.
All right, that's good. So the issue about the broker fee and all that is already finalized. They just now
they're working out how to get it into legal contracts.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that within 2 weeks here that I'll have one and I can kind of share it, because it really, from what I've seen thus far, it looks like there's 3 ways for buyer brokers to get paid. And it's always a concern for buyers, especially put yourself in the position of a first-time home buyer. And you're already scrambling to put together enough money to have your basic down payment. If you're going FHA, you need about 3%. If you're going some of the other programs, you maybe get 3.5% to 5%. Well, the average house, say it's $400,000, and if you do the math on it, so now you're talking 12.
So the buyer really have to understand and ask about the commission, who pay for. Like if in the transaction is always can negotiate, but if they don't talk about it, then of course the buyer will pay for it, right?
The buyer could be on the hook. And I think that the other thing too is, I know that some of the newer real estate brokers out there, they may be in a position where if they don't handle it properly, they may help someone buy a house and not get paid at all.
Right. That's true. So, because they have no contract signed.
Because they have no contract signed.
Yeah.
But the one thing that is very clear is the National Association of Realtors and the courts have said that if I'm representing you and we're going to go look at a house, before I go through that door with you, I have to have a signed buyer-broker agreement.
Yep.
We have to have a contractual agreement.
Sign first before make an action.
That's right.
Okay. So I think like we have about 5-6 minutes. We can wrap up everything and then let them know that we will come back, and then we'll share some more of the whatever that we think is important for the viewer. Like any program, any special program from the government giving to our to the people that own the house, own the property, or anything like you can think of.
And we'll bring up things like some of the new loan programs, both for business as well as for purchasing homes. Because, like I said, when the rates stayed fairly high, a lot of people got a little more innovative with some of their ideas on how they could handle things.
Right. So, are you gonna vote this year? Regular? You're gonna do a vote?
As a matter of fact, I've already voted in the primary. I do mail in.
Oh, you mail in?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
But
so
I vote.
you vote.
Sometimes it doesn't seem like it makes any difference, but I always vote.
Yeah. Vote is good. Like sometimes just like one vote is helping,
Well, certainly the last presidential election, it was just a few votes that made the difference here in the state of Arizona and some of the other states as well. So you never know when it's going to make a difference. And certainly at the local level, some of these, mayors and city council members and things like that, they've been voted in with just several hundred votes. So it's really important for you to get out there and vote.
Yeah, that's true. Like everybody have to think that's your right
Exactly.
of a citizen here. Like you, if you vote, then you will count your opinion. Your opinion being count
Yes.
for that.
You know, nothing worse than sitting there and complaining about things when you had an
Yeah.
opportunity to
Yeah, if not
influence it
happy
by
on
voting.
something, want to change something, then okay, here's the time.
Yep.
Here's your chance to
Exactly right.
to make it happen. Okay, we can stop right here, and then we can see our audience next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for anything interesting. And thank you so much with the heat like this, and you come out and have a little bit of chat with our audience. Right now, again, if anyone have any question or any concern, anything in related to the real estate, please feel free to contact back to Mr. Scott Barlow, or send the question to my messenger, and then we can dig it out and find out, and Mr. Barlow will get some information to us. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay cool.
Yes.
LinhVi xin cảm ơn sự theo dõi của tất cả quý vị trong những giây phút vừa qua. Chương trình VAATV xin kính chào, tạm biệt và xin hẹn gặp lại quý vị vào lần phát hình kỳ tới. Mọi chi tiết về thông tin thương mại và bảo trợ, xin mời quý vị hãy liên lạc về địa chỉ email vaatelevision@gmail.com và số điện thoại là 480 289 9816, 480 289 9816, website vaatv.com và vaaznews.com. Xin kính chào, tạm biệt.